gotta make sure that it's recording. Oh, yeah, it is. And Odie, come. Come on. Come. Yeah. You silly dog. Okay. Okay. All right, that was fun. All right, so now I'm seeing if I can get like this. All right, so this is my new shtick. You can't see it, but that's my new shtick. This is my outfit, nothing fancy. I'm just going to do, as I promised, I am off to get some fiddleheads for my neighbor. Again, this is my outfit. Let me see if I can, oh no, wrong way. I hope that you can see that. Now I have to I gotta get used to this stick. I got a stick. Okay, this stick is like super fancy and it's like technical. So I don't know how long the battery's gonna last. So we're gonna see. I'm going into the forest. I've got much better shoes this time around. I have a stick that's not falling apart. And oh, see? Like, I don't know how to use it yet. And oh. Okay, there we are. Not sure if this is gonna work very well. I gotta get used to the stick. Plus, I've gotta get, I think there's like oh, what's going on? Yeah, I'm not sure why it's doing that. All right, I think this is a, oh my God, I have no idea why this is doing this. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna stop it and we're gonna see, oh, maybe it's done. No idea what that was. Okay, so let's just hope that oh my God, I don't know what's going on. Okay. Okay. Not sure if it's gonna work, actually. You know, technically, I gotta say, I'm not very good at this crap. So now I don't know how to make this work. But anyway, I'm gonna white knuckle it and maybe we'll have an adventure. And I can't seem to control this stick now. Oh my God, is there ever gonna be a time where the stick issue is not gonna be an issue? I don't know. But what I will tell you is about control. You know, okay, let's see. Not sure if I got the ghost out of the machine. I'm not really sure. This is actually quite I'm going to show you a picture or a video of it. It's kind of a hefty gimbal. I guess it's called a gimbal, not a stick. I might just go and get a cheapy stick again, but maybe a better one this time. I don't know what happened. And so I, ironically, can't control the stick. Now I can't control the stick. Not that it doesn't work anymore, because the manual one worked, except when it didn't. And again, as God would have it, it's like sometimes I think fate is, well, magic, really. Because if you think about it, I wanted to talk to you guys about control. Now, I don't know how much of the last video I didn't have time because I was sitting there in the forest trying to control, funny word, my gimbal. And it was very difficult. Then I finally got the control under control, as it were. And as it turns out, I had no storage on my phone. So then I was sitting there deleting. And yeah, I'm standing there like a wiener in the forest playing with my phone. And my phone, these are some tumultuous roads here. They're not like our usual walk. It's downhill, uphill, downhill, uphill. But let's see how far we get, because generally we come here with one of those, oh, I don't know if I'll get through here, guys. Again, I have no control on the topography. And look at this. How do I do this? Hang on. So I go up and then I go around. Oh no, that's not how I do it. Down and around. Is that right? Oh, okay. Around, down, around. Oh my gosh, down. Bear with me. So now I have to go down there and, well, let's just say, oh, hopefully this thing doesn't start freaking out again. All right, because I don't think I can do this. So many freakouts here. We got my phone freak out, my dog's freaking out. The weather is not cooperating. I have a purse that I've got like a little speaker in so that when I'm picking my fiddleheads, I can listen to some music. And it also detracts from moose because there's a lot of moose that walk through here. Like we have trails everywhere. We have poop everywhere. There's bears also. Okay, now this is just to avoid, I just don't know how to work this stick yet. I gotta get up there. All right, so let's do it. And control. I don't know how many minutes we're in and we're not even on the subject that I was thinking about. And I think it's important, guys. I'm probably too close because this is closer than I'm used to. I think it's important to talk about things we're thinking about. And I don't mean like what the media gave us, because that's the ultimate control, y'all. Like, don't you agree? Like, wouldn't you agree? Oh, and I wanted to show you, so, where did I see that? So here, like if you look here, okay, I broke that off, but if you look here, see how it's all, that's actually bitten off. That's actually bitten off by animals. And that's what happened to my trees. Holy crap, my hand is hurting from this thing. It's very heavy. Not sure if this is gonna work for me. But that's all bitten off. And that happened to my tree on my property. And it killed my cherry tree, killed my pear tree. And those are moose. Moose do that in the winter. I guess they're looking for some satiation of any kind. And so they are driven to, unfortunately, destroy the trees. So I don't have to get new trees. But back to control. If we're talking about what was on Survivor, or what was on, I don't know what the latest, coolest trends are in terms of like shows, because I, as you know, don't have a television. I have no cable. I refuse to pay like hard-earned money for what? For propaganda? No thanks. And I would prefer to walk in the forest and wonder and wonder about things like control. And how is it that we think as a society that we have control of any kind, really? I mean, think about it really deeply, and you'll really look around. Okay, let's look at what do we control? Can we control not paying taxes? Yes, but do we? No. Can we control if we go 6 days a week or 5 days a week to work in order to get money for our food? Yes and no. Because yes, you can choose not to go to work, but then what's going to happen is you get kicked out of your house, your family will starve. And I would say that can you control how much energy you make? Well, no, because the energy is controlled by someone else. And I'm going to show you where we are by the river. You ready? Okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah. I think that worked. Look at that. Now, if you look here, you can see that the river was all the way up like another 5-6 feet. And if you look here, I'm going to show you where we're standing, all the places we're standing. This was all underwater. Up to, I think, here. I don't know if you could see that, but this was all underwater. It's all muddy up until at least here. I don't know how far up. I'm just trying to see where. Okay, yeah. So the water line is like right here. Like all these trees were underwater. So basically, I would say that control, for the peasants at least, is in our mind what we have. But I would say, I'm going to find some place where I can sit. I would say that we don't have really any control. There's only one control we have. And that control is ourselves. How we control any given situation. So for example, lately I have been obsessed, even though I have not. Let me sit right here. I'm going to just adjust you guys. Sorry, you're going to have to bear with me, please. I have these little fancy feet. But I have to adjust. Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh, that hurt. So, I have been obsessed right now with the new Hunger Games. So the new Hunger Games, and I don't think it's new because I just realized that I think this Hunger Games has been actually around for a couple of years. You know, the new bird and snake, the Ballad of the Bird. Odie! Oh, good boy. Hopefully he doesn't knock you guys down. I don't know what he's seeing. What do you see? Make sure you... Woo! He's flying around. Hopefully there's no big animals. Anyway, and careful. Did you see that? Did you see that flash? So control, you know, why did I start thinking about control? I had a situation with someone in my circle, in my direct sort of human interactive circle. And this person was behaving, in my opinion, poorly towards at the very least me. And it had been happening for, a short period of time. It's not like a long period of time. And then the only way I can control the situation, in my opinion, was, let me take these off, was to not add another stick to the fire, not to react in a way where it was reactionary, to calmly step away and to calmly kind of say, all right, you do you until you sort of think about it. But I don't think this person really thought about their actions to have my reaction. My reaction was the only control I had on the situation. And I realized sitting in bed while I was having my coffee this morning, this person reacted to me reacting. So basically, I was reacting in the best way that I thought was, I guess, the most peaceful way, so that I didn't start a fight. I was trying to play the hand that I had been given. And I thought, okay, I can't control this person. I can't tell this person what to do. This person has to recognize their own sort of action as to why they're getting a reaction. So I'm starting to realize that control, okay, out. Control and the reach to control for us simpletons in our everyday life is what we can control within our own self, within our own body, within our own mind. And back to why I was bringing the Hunger Games up is I've not seen the movie. I didn't know there was a movie until I went on the music app, Apple whatever Play or whatever it's called, and I typed in Hunger Games because I didn't want to go to my playlist. For some reason, I didn't go to my playlist. And I went and I typed in Hunger Games. And then this bird and snakes, Ballad of the Birds and Snakes. And I read the book, so I know the story, but I didn't watch the movie. And it reminded me of the book, and I read the book so many years ago. Shortly after my cousin died, I read the book. And it reminded me, because it was so weird how things happen. I was having this interaction that was, in my opinion, what I was receiving was kind of something that I was trying to deal with, but I can't change how a person is behaving. I said, I think, quietly or sort of, you know, without being, aggressive or without adding to the fire to make the fire bigger. I was trying to bring water to the situation where there was starting to be a little bit of a spark of a fire. But I guess the way that I had dealt with myself was maybe not as effective as, for example, in the book, in the Ballad of the Bird and the Snake, I think it's called, because it's Hunger Games, but I don't remember. I don't understand the word ballad. I'm gonna have to look that up because it didn't resonate with me. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's an interplay of birds and snakes or what. But because she sings like a songbird, her control mechanism is to bring what makes her happy and what settles her, which is singing. Singing is what brings her food. Singing is what gives her life, what gives her sustenance in life. And that's really the only control we have, is figuring out what they can't take away from us. And the thing is if you remember in The Matrix, actually, the movie, the Frenchman says that choice and also control together the illusion of it is provided by the people in power to the people that have no power. And that's, maybe not a direct quote, and maybe I can find a direct quote at some point, and put it up. But the thing is in our society, there's never ever been a society that we are aware of, or the history that we're given, that has thought so recklessly that we have control. And just like I lost control of my gimbal, for God's sakes, just like when the gimbal decided to have a ghost in the machine and start going around and around, I was not doing anything. I didn't have my finger on any button. It was just going around and around. That's about the level of control that you and I, as peasants in this world, the bottom of the rung, have. You have the control of dressing yourself, but really, do you really have control of that? I mean, I would argue that even this garment, even this shirt and everything I'm wearing has been given to me by the system. And it's been curated for this specific moment. And I would also argue that, for example, everything we are given is strategically placed in front of us to make the people in power have more power and control over us. I would argue that the consumption of media has proven, alongside with the pharmaceutical arm of the control grid, has been one of the most successful control mechanisms of the human race, or the human experiment, or whatever it is that we are, and for whatever purpose we are here, that they have ever accomplished. And I would also argue that when we think that we're in control, they win. They win. It's checkmate. It's checkmate. Because when you believe and when you think that there isn't something working against you, you relax and you accept. But I will say that the only thing you have control over, just like Lucy Gray in that movie, in the book originally, but in the movie The Hunger Games, the last one, the one where it's a story of snow, she, in her songs are peasant songs because they're a means of survival. They're a means of storytelling about how they can survive in such peril times, and that really anything that they can take from us is not worth keeping. And really the only thing, and in the book, this young girl, because she lives in such difficult times, and I would argue a lot of people that live in difficult times can see this more clearly than people that go explore. They can see things more clearly because they have less control mechanisms in place, like fashion and food and entertainment and drugs and social life. These things are all layers of control that we think they are our luxury. We think that these, so anybody that backtrack back to Lucy Gray, when she sings that song about understanding that they can take everything away, but everything that they can take away is really not worth anything when it comes down to the wire, when it comes to right before death. The only thing that you can control is how you react to them taking it all away from you and punishing you because you're a human and that you will not submit to them. I would say that I'm really looking forward to watching that movie because there's a lot jam-packed in there. There's that book was incredibly, it was a absolute psychological warfare book. And if you look at it from a standpoint of like the art of war as opposed to entertainment, which you should never ever look at movies as entertainment. That is a grave mistake. A grave mistake. If you are watching movies and you are not looking at them as information, similar to like the Men in Black and when they look at the Inquirer for information to see what aliens, blah, 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 you are missing a large portion of the control arm. That's just the way that it is. My dog is choking on something. So control is in the eye of the slave that believes that he's in control. You are not, I would argue, in control of your life. And if you want to challenge me on that, I dare you to tell me if you could stop, control your own life. This is your own life. Stop paying your house tax if your house is paid off. Stop going to work. Stop buying food that is popular. You'll see how quickly people around you, they say that in high school you have peer pressure. I would argue, and I said this to my husband a little while back, the peer pressure really starts when you're an adult. School, the indoctrination camps facilities, are there designed to teach you how to follow peer pressure. So I would argue that school is the primer. When you're going to do a great job on paint. I love painting. When you're doing a great job on painting, you got to use a really great primer. If you use a really great primer, you have a lot less work, but your colors go on better. The life of your paint job is a lot better. School, in every sense, is the primer to get you prepared for real life. So what I mean by that is, if you go to school, regular traditional indoctrination camp facilities, you will learn that if you do not wear the same clothes everybody else is scheduled to wear, you will be ostracized. If you do not have the same lunches, you will be ostracized. If you do not think the same way, Candace Owens talks about this. She says that being a black girl, she grew up in a mostly Jewish neighborhood. But because of that, she learned, because the Jewish people, they believe in education. That is one of their main sources of sort of one of their root beliefs, that education is, you have to be very educated. Much like people from India as well. Education, very important. Chinese, education, very important. But real education, meaning reading books, critical thinking. So Candace Owens was reciting a time where she remembers where her black friends, or her, the surrounding people that she also had in her life, would make fun of her because she was a book reader. So if you think about that control mechanism, that we have all of these little, beliefs that this is what you should do, and because if you are anything different, you are ridiculed. Even in my case, I don't really want to tell people I know that I'm doing this. And the reason why is not because I'm embarrassed of you or doing this with you, or the fact that I feel compelled to talk about these things, because even though I'm not very eloquent and I don't have my thoughts well put together like Alan Watt or like American Vagabond, I'm not very, I'm not as eloquent as Candace Owens. She's well read. I did not read as many books as these people, and I'm ashamed to admit it, but go out, and you can sit down somewhere. But I'm working on it. slowly. And I know it's in my later years, but I'm working on it. And I've acknowledged that that's a problem. But it's a problem because the control grid worked on me. It worked on me. It worked perfectly on me. And I just think it's so funny how my new gimbal just lost control and I lost control of my gimbal. I think that was just ironic. It was irony at the most magnificent magical time, which I sometimes I sometimes feel like there's someone sending me a message, whether it's my cousin, whether it's my grandma, whether it's God, whether it's the source, whether it's whoever. That sometimes things happen even though I'm not eloquent, even though I don't oftentimes I don't feel like I should be doing this because who am I? What the hell do I have to say anyway? Nobody really gives a crap. But then these things happen and I'm like, okay, maybe because I wanted to talk about the control grid because I've really been realizing that the only thing we have control over is ourselves, and even not so much ourselves, but how we learn or teach ourselves how to respond to situations, whether it's stress situations. Like I'm I'm really trying to practice being better in managing my stress, in terms of not managing, because you can't manage your stress when the world is sometimes caving in on you and your gimbal doesn't even want to listen to you. But the way that I respond, generally I would say 2 3 years ago, I would probably freak out and throw this gimbal like in the forest somewhere. But he left here, sorry, my dog, he freaked me out, and then he's here. So yesterday we came to pick these fiddleheads with my neighbor because he showed me where to pick them. And I'll tell you, my dog scared the crap out of him because he didn't realize he had followed us because we came in on a quad. Anyway, so today I just wanted to share that with you. I think this video is already long enough. I'm going to do my very best to start trying to be a little bit more concise. I'm getting back into the writing and the reading. And I do realize that it does help me put my thoughts together. And when I have my thoughts together, I'm not all over the place. And I think that's easier for you guys too. But ultimately, these talks with you are not really supposed to be structured. It's supposed to be like two friends sitting in the forest and going, what do you think? And this is what I think. And do you see it this way, or how other way? Like, what's another angle? Learning to be a better listener requires you to ask questions and listen. But at this point, I just feel like that's kind of how I want to be able to talk to you, whoever you are, whoever wonderful, wonderful you are on the other side. And I want you to feel like we're just getting together and just like having a coffee, like the good old days, when you used to get together and you didn't have like an agenda to talk about, and there wasn't a crisis that you needed to talk about, like, your girlfriend wasn't leaving her husband or her husband wasn't having an affair, or what do you do? No dramatics, just two people sitting and talking about diddly squat. And as you talk about diddly squat, it leads you to like magic talk. Like, it leads you to things that you weren't planning or expecting. And that for me is organic. And I would prefer to find people that want to do just talking about nothing and getting into the nitty gritty of real life, and getting meandering until you find a spot where it's like this clearing and you're like, wow, I'm so glad I meandered in the forest until I found this like beautiful spot that I wouldn't have otherwise found unless I was going on like a beaten trail. So I do hope that you understand that that's kind of the feel that I would want on these talks with you. And again, when I come out and something happens, or the day before something happened, and it was just perfect about what I was thinking about, say, a long time ago, or during this week, or, like for example, when when I was reading about violence and how it was explaining to me that violence actually starts with a thought, with a coveting of somebody else's something, whether it's a person, whether it's a thing, whether it's property, whether it's whatever. And then the next day, somebody coveted something of mine that I didn't know until they took action against me. And it wasn't maybe necessarily against me, but again, these people are put in a position where they think maybe they're in control, but they're not. They're stealing out of a control mechanism that has been set around them, and they're stealing as a reaction. And they're not considering that their actions, that's the only thing they could have controlled. The only thing they could have controlled is to stop the system from putting them in such a position that they felt they needed to steal. And okay, I've moved on and forgiven them, and I hope that whoever has my glasses has good use of them, and I hope they really needed them. But again, the control grid controlled the outcome of what they did, instead of them taking power and saying, no, I won't steal because the control mechanism has put me in this position. And I don't know, maybe because I'm talking about it, I haven't gotten over it, but I feel like I have. Like, I've got these glasses. I hope you like them. These were like $19 on the internet, and it took me like 3 people to put glasses in these. Three eye people, what are they called? Optometrists, because they didn't want to touch it, because if you can see, it kind of looks like a cat. These are really cool. I like these, but they're my old prescription, and that's fine. I'll just deal with that for now, and then we'll see where it goes. But I would challenge you to think about how much control you really have in your life. And I would argue that it's not a lot. And really the only control that we really have as human beings is how we respond to every situation. And also, do we want to and do we need to respond to every situation? Like in my life, I really didn't want to respond to this situation in any way. I wanted to let it go and let it fester in the person that I was dealing with. And I realized that this person's reaction then to me was the fact that I was behaving not in a way that they wanted me to react. So anyways, with that, I'm gonna go and pick some fiddleheads, and you, my friends, are going to hopefully come back and like and subscribe, and it's in your control to do that. So if you want to sit down with me more, I would really like it if you showed me that you enjoy sitting down with me and meandering in these meandering woods, or driving, or wherever it is we're going. Maybe one day I'll have a tea or a coffee with you guys. Not tea, because I'm back on the carnivore bandwagon. So please do keep me posted as to, if you guys are feeling that I'm starting to look like I'm disappearing, because I really want to avoid that. I'm trying to eat as much as I can in order not to lose the weight, because I'm really enjoying this weight that I'm at. Side note. Anyways, I'm going to get back to it. So you guys have a great day. And as I've said, enjoy in the understanding that there is control within yourself, but that the control is not out there. It's not, you don't have control over anything. Nothing. You really have control over nothing except yourself. So with that, thank you so much. I'll see you later. Right, Odie? We're off. We're off from this beautiful place. Ooh. Ow. Ow, ow, ow. Jeez, this thing is dangerous. Danger. Anyway, goodbye to the river. You ready, dog? All right. Mwah.